Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani has reigned as the Emir of Qatar since June 25, 2013, succeeding his father, Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani. Born in Doha, he is the fourth son of the former Emir and his second wife, Moza bint Nasser. Tamim became heir apparent in 2003 after his older brother Sheikh Jassim renounced his claim to the throne. His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani was born on June 3, 1980 in Doha, Qatar, where he received his primary and secondary schooling. He then joined Sherborne School in the United Kingdom, where he continued his secondary schooling and graduated in 1997. His Highness then pursued his higher education in the United Kingdom, where he attended the Royal Military Academy of Sandhurst, graduating in 1998. After graduating from Sandhurst, His Highness joined Qatar's Armed Forces, combining both military academic study and practical and on-the-field experience. His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani was born on June 3, 1980 in Doha, Qatar, where he received his primary and secondary schooling. He then joined Sherborne School in the United Kingdom, where he continued his secondary schooling and graduated in 1997. His Highness then pursued his higher education in the United Kingdom, where he attended the Royal Military Academy of Sandhurst, graduating in 1998. After graduating from Sandhurst, His Highness joined Qatar's Armed Forces, combining both military academic study and practical and on-the-field experience. As heir apparent. On August 5, 2003, His Highness was appointed heir apparent and Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. During his tenure, he chaired a number of bodies and Supreme Councils in different fields, such as the Supreme Education Council, the Supreme Council of Health, the Supreme Council for the Environment and Natural Reserves, the Supreme Council for Information and Communication Technology, Board of Directors of Qatar Investment Authority, Supreme Committee for Development Planning, Board of Trustees of Qatar University, and the Qatar Leadership Center. His Highness had a remarkable and constructive contribution to Qatar National Vision 2030, as he was entrusted by His Highness the Amir at the time to chair the Supreme Committee for planning the vision of the country until launched in 2008. His Highness the Amir is still following up the implementation of the vision at the present. Believing in the importance of future generations to be knowledgeable of the history of Qatar and the feats and eternal values of its founding ancestors, His Highness the Amir oversaw the launch of Qatar National Day. It is considered one of the most prominent things overseen by His Highness during his tenure as the heir apparent, aiming that future generations will incarnate, preserve, and keep echoing those values. His Highness the Amir contributed as well to the launch of the National Sports Day, as he believed in the importance of health for the individual and society. As for the political and diplomatic affairs, the Amir played a major role in bridging views among several disputing political parties through political dialogues hosted in Doha and carried out under personal auspices of His Highness the Amir. As Amir of the State of Qatar. Upon assuming his duties as Amir of the State of Qatar, His Highness became the head of state and Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, in addition to his chairmanship of the Supreme Council for Economic Affairs and Investment, the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy, and the National Security Council. During his tenure, the State of Qatar obtained high ranks in the international and regional indicators. It is ranked the first in capital flows, political and legislative areas, gross domestic product per capita and low unemployment rate. On the regional level, Qatar has ranked the first in the Higher Education Quality Report, Humanitarian Affairs, Global Peace Index, and Human Development Index. Early life and education. Tamim bin Hamad was born on June 3, 1980 in Doha, Qatar. He is the fourth son of Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, and second son of Sheikha Moza bint Nasser Al Misnd, Hamad's second wife. Tamim was educated at the UK's Sherborne School, International College, in Dorset and at Harrow School, where he sat his A-levels in 1997. He then attended the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, graduating in 1998. Career. Sheikh Tamim was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Qatar Armed Forces upon graduation from Sandhurst. He became the heir apparent to the Qatar throne on August 5, 2003, when his elder brother Sheikh Jassim renounced his claim to the title. Since then he was groomed to take over rule, working in top security and economics posts. On August 5, 2003, he was appointed Deputy Commander-in-Chief of Qatar's Armed Forces. Sheikh Tamim promoted sport as part of Qatar's bid to raise its international profile. In 2005 he founded Oryx Qatar Sports Investments, which owns Paris Saint-Germain FC among other investments. In 2006, he chaired the organizing committee of the 15th Asian Games in Doha. Under his leadership, all member countries attended the event for the first time in its history. That year's Al Aram voted Tamim the best sport personality in the Arab world. Under his guidance, Qatar won the rights to host the 2014 FINA Swimming World Championships and the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Tamim is chairman of the National Olympic Committee. At the 113th session of the International Olympic Committee, IOC, in February 2002, he was elected as a member of the IOC. He headed Doha's bid for the 2020 Olympics. The country hosted the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Qatar is estimated to have spent around $200 billion on infrastructure in preparation for the event. The Olympic Council of Asia, OCA, Evaluation Committee completed its tour to Doha in November 2020, and confirmed that the city will have much to offer for the Asian Games, and that they were satisfied with the prioritizing and support from Tamim. At the 39th General Assembly of the OCA, President Ahmed Al-Fahad Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah announced that Doha would host the 2030 Asian Games. Sheikh Tamim heads the Qatar Investment Authority Board of Directors. Under his leadership, the fund has invested billions in British businesses. It owns large stakes in Barclays Bank, Sainsbury's, and Harrods. The fund also owns a 95% share of Europe's fourth tallest building, the Shard, a skyscraper in London. Tamim has also held a number of other posts, including Head of the Upper Council of the Environment and Natural Sanctuaries, Chairman of the Supreme Council for the Environment and Natural Reserves, Chairman of the Supreme Education Council, Chairman of the Supreme Council of Information and Communication Technology, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Public Works Authority, Ashgul, and the Urban Planning and Development Authority, UPDA. Chairman of the Board of Regents of Qatar University. Deputy Chairman of the Ruling Family Council. Vice President of the Supreme Council for Economic Affairs and Investment. Deputy Chairman of the High Committee for Coordination and Follow-up. Member of Sports for All. Reign. On June 25, 2013, Tamim's father, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, revealed to close relatives and aides that he planned to step down as the Emir of Qatar. Tamim then became the Emir of Qatar after his father handed over power in a televised speech. While the previous two Qatari rulers from the Al Thani family ascended to power in bloodless coups, Tamim was the first to ascend to power via an abdication. According to The Economist, of his siblings who had previously contended for the throne, one played too much, the other prayed too much. The transition of power went smoothly, as family members hold many of Qatar's top posts. According to a diplomatic source close to the Al Thani family, Sheikh Tamim has a strong personality that allowed him to establish himself within the ruling house of Thani. He became crown prince on August 5, 2003, after his brother Sheikh Jassim had stepped down. Diplomats quoted by the BBC argued that Jassim, who served as crown prince for 8 years, had hoped to expand his political powers. In 2003, Sheikh Jassim stepped down from the position of crown prince. According to Qatar news agency, Jassim sent a letter to his father saying, "The time is appropriate to step down and prepare for a successor." In the letter, Jassim stated, "I did not want, as I have told you from the start, to be appointed as crown prince," and said that he had only accepted the position in October 1996 because of sensitive circumstances. According to a report by Stratfor, Jassim had no allies among the military forces or secret police at the time of the 2013 political transition, and thus had few chances to overturn Hamad's decree. Tamim rules an authoritarian regime. He holds all executive and legislative authority in Qatar, political parties are forbidden, and elections are not free and fair. The citizens of Qatar have limited political and civil rights. One of Tamim's first moves after coming to power was to merge bureaucracies, such as the Qatar National Food Security Program, which was incorporated into the Ministries of Economy and Agriculture. He lowered the budget of the Qatar Foundation and Qatar Museums Authority and other institutions. Since his accession to power, the government has expanded the roads around the capital, developed the new Doha metro system, and completed the construction of a new airport, the Hamad International Airport. During the Arab Spring, Tamim promised to establish a directive to lower the price of foodstuffs sold by companies working with the country's national food security program and anticipated social allowances and pension increases. In his inaugural speech on June 26, 2013, Sheikh Tamim pledged to continue to diversify Qatar's economy away from hydrocarbons. In June 2013, Sheikh Tamim unveiled his new cabinet. Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah was named foreign minister. Unlike previous appointees to this post, Al Attiyah was a non-royal. Tamim made Hessa Al Jaber the first ever Minister of Information and Communications Technology in Qatar in 2013. She was the third female minister to be named to the cabinet. In 2014, Tamim passed new cybercrime legislation, which was said to be part of an agreement among Gulf states to criminalize online insults of the region's royal families. The law outlawed the spreading of false news as well as digital material that violates the country's social values or general order. The legislation made it illegal to incite, aid and facilitate the publication of offensive material. The law was criticized as being intended by the authoritarian regime to silence dissent in Qatar. Amnesty International called the law a major setback for freedom of expression in Qatar, and other critics suggest that the new law will violate provisions of the country's constitution that protect civil liberties. In January 2016, Tamim made additional changes to his cabinet. He named a new foreign minister, Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani, moving the previous foreign minister, Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah, to the position of Minister of State for Defense Affairs. Tamim also merged several ministries, including Communication and Transport, Culture, Youth and Sports. Journalists have speculated reasons behind the cabinet changes. Some have come to the conclusion that the reorganization was either an economic move, meant to save the country money at a time when the falling price of gas had forced the country to scale back its workforce, or for reasons of political stability. Eurasia Group indicated in a report that the cabinet change aimed to increase efficiency in government operations and would not negatively impact political or economic stability. According to others, the appointments showed that Tamim was trying to make the government his own by bringing in a new, younger generation of ministers that were more loyal to him than to his father. First legislative election and scrapping thereof. On July 29, 2021, Sheikh Tamim signed Law No. 6 of 2021 for the conduct of First Legislative, Shura Council, election in Qatar and 5th in the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC. The law was first approved in a 2003 constitutional referendum but was never enforced. Of the 45 seats of the Shura Council, 2/3, 30 seats, were elected, while the Emir appointed the remaining 15 members of the council, giving this minority group and his cabinet overwhelming power of decision-making on issues of defense, foreign policy, and other critical issues of the state. The Assembly's powers are limited. The body can only question the Prime Minister, who is appointed by the Amir of Qatar, on his policies if 2/3 of the members agree, which was unlikely given that 1/3 of its members were appointed by the Emir. This law was widely criticized by international rights groups for the exclusion of naturalized Qatari citizens and other groups. On October 2, 2021, the first ever election held in Qatar, recording 63.5% voter turnout but with protests by disenfranchised groups. Eligibility for the vote was limited to people aged 18 years and up who had a grandfather born in Qatar. Candidates were required to be at least 30 years of age and of Qatari origin. Some members of the semi-nomadic Al-Murrah tribe were barred from the election, causing discontent among some members of the tribe. Some members and supporters of the Al-Murrah tribe were arrested after protesting the law. After the vote controversy, Tamim pledged equal citizenship and ordered legal amendments. In November 2024, the initial experiment of legislative elections that took place in the 2021 general poll was formally discontinued. The electoral component for the advisory assembly was fully eliminated, scrapping the planned general election process for its seats and returning the appointment power to the emir. Labor rights. During Tamim's rule, Qatar's abuse and exploitation of foreign migrant laborers, mostly Indians and Nepalese, has been a subject of international controversy, in particular in the lead-up to the 2022 FIFA World Cup. Two laws protecting workers' rights, which included clauses on maximum working hours and rights to annual leave, were passed by Sheikh Tamim in 2017. The next year, Sheikh Tamim passed Law No. 13 of 2018, abolishing exit visas for roughly 95% of the country's migrant workers. The remaining 5% of workers, which amount to approximately 174,000 people, still require their employer's permission to exit the country. Amnesty International described the step taken by the Emir as an important first step towards meeting the authorities' promise to fundamentally reform the exploitative sponsorship system, but called on the government to follow through with more reforms. In November 2017, Qatar and the International Labour Organization, ILO, started a technical cooperation program to improve working conditions and labour rights. The ILO opened its first project office in Qatar in April 2018. Following the adoption on August 30, 2020 of Law No. 19 of 2020, migrant workers can now change jobs before the end of their contract without first having to obtain a no objection certificate, NOC, from their employer. This new law, coupled with the removal of exit permit requirements earlier in the year, effectively dismantles the kafala system of sponsorships, although elements of the system remained. In March 2021, Qatar implemented a monthly minimum wage of 1,000 rials, $275, for all workers, making it the first country in the region to do so. Sheikh Tamim is described as friendly, confident, and open by those who know him. He is also described as savvy, careful, and conservative. In addition, he is considered to be a pragmatist, and to have excellent relations with the West, including the United States and France. Political analysts expected Tamim to be more conservative and risk-averse than his father. Because Tamim is very close to the Muslim Brotherhood, preserving a national identity grounded in Islamic traditional values has been Tamim's first priority. A sketch of Tamim entitled Tamim al-Mahd, Tamim the Glorious, by advertiser Ahmed al-Ma'ahid became extremely popular as a nationalistic symbol in Qatar following the beginning of the 2017 Qatar diplomatic crisis. Personal life. Sheikh Tamim married his first wife and second cousin, Sheikha Jawahir bint Hamad al-Thani, on January 8, 2005. They have 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. Sheikha al-Mayasa bint Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, born January 15, 2006. Sheikh Hamad bin Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, born October 20, 2008. Sheikha Aisha bint Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, born August 24, 2010. Sheikh Jassim bin Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, born June 12, 2012. Sheikh Tamim married a second wife, Sheikha Alanud bint Mana al-Hajri, on March 3, 2009. She is the daughter of Mana bin Abdul Hadi al-Hajri, former Qatari ambassador to Jordan. They have 5 children, 3 daughters and 2 sons. Sheikha Naila bint Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, born May 27, 2010. Sheikh Abdullah bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born September 29, 2012. Sheikh Aradha bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born January 2014. Sheikh Al-Kaka'i bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born October 3, 2015. Sheikh Amoza bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born May 19, 2018. On February 25, 2014, Sheikh Tamim married a third wife, Sheikh Anura bint Hadhal al-Dosari. They have 4 children, 3 sons, and 1 daughter. Sheikh Joan bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born March 27, 2015. Sheikh Mohammed bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born July 17, 2017. Sheikh Fahad bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born June 16, 2018. Sheikh Hind bin Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, born February 5, 2020. In total he has 13 children born between 2006 and 2020, 7 sons and 6 daughters, from 3 wives. Tamim participates in competitive sport. He has been filmed playing badminton and bowling with former Egyptian military chief Mohammed Hussein Tantawi. He has a strong interest in history and his nation's heritage. He is fluent in Arabic, English, and French. Succession. The permanent constitution of the state of Qatar published in 2005 dictates that the rule is hereditary and limited to descendants of Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani. The order of succession in Qatar is determined by appointments within the House of Al Thani. On November 11, 2014, Amir Tamim appointed his younger half-brother Abdullah bin Hamad Al Thani to the post of deputy emir, unofficially making him heir presumptive to the throne of Qatar. Amir Tamim is one day expected to appoint one of his own sons as crown prince. Medals and awards. His Highness the Amir received many international medals and awards in recognition of his contributions in humanitarian areas and international issues, as well as for his efforts in promoting friendship and cooperation between nations and peoples. Hobbies and languages. His hobbies include tennis, falconry, and sports related to the Qatari and Arab heritage. In addition to Arabic language, His Highness is fluent in both English and French. His Highness is married and has 13 children. Thank you for watching this video.